That was much better.
Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Hoot Rob Jones. Today we're going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart, something that I have quite a lot of experience with. Poverty Pony Frankenstein AR builds. Now you might be asking yourself the question, why would you ever want to do a Frankenstein Poverty Pony build? Quite frankly, they're a lot of fun. And just like any other mad scientist out there, when you start tooling around with an AR-15, you can actually build yourself a fairly decent general purpose rifle that is, pretty nice. And overall, the components and everything like that, you can kind of make this a customized option for yourself without breaking the bank. Now, I have made a lot of mistakes before with different builds, and I learned from those, and hopefully today you can learn from what I did wrong and take some of the parts and components that you see on this rifle right here, this particular build, and put it into your own build in the future. First up, what is this build in front of you? It is probably, I think, the fourth iteration of this particular rifle. I started this one out back in 2020. This was a full Bear Creek Arsenal build, upper and lower. Essentially, I just said, give me an upper, give me a lower, and I went from there. Now, you can do that. Certainly, there's nothing preventing you from doing that. In fact, a lot of people in the industry would say, yeah, just grab a full upper, grab a full lower. The only thing that you have to do to put it together, and I'm not going to do it right now because YouTube's going to freak out and say, oh, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
But essentially, you have two push pins right here. Put them on top of each other, close the pins down, rack it, make sure you're able to actually drop the trigger, and then you're good to go. That's what most builds are going to be, all right? When somebody says, I built an AR-15, 99.9% of the time, that's what that's going to be.
I'm a gunsmith by trade, but a fisher of men by avocation.
Then I mess around with anything in the gas, the dwell timing, anything with the buffer, anything with the BCG, none of that. They just took two factory upper, or a factory upper and a factory and lower, and put it all together. Say you don't want to do that. Say you want to customize something. You certainly can. And the AR-15 platform is probably one of the most versatile platforms for actually customizing a totally unique rifle built for you by you. It's not that hard to do with the right tools and a little bit of knowledge. Now, most other channels will be plugging for Sonoran Desert Institute right now. And yeah, as much as I'd like that sponsor money, quite frankly, it's not a product I know and it's not one that I trust. But one that I do know and trust is NineLivesTactical and their Chester's chest rig and a couple new items that they have brought to market. So thank you as always to NineLivesTactical for being the main sponsor of this channel. Let's get back into it. So tip to butt, what is this rifle? Well, this is just a general purpose rifle that, again, I'm on my fifth iteration with it. And at this point in time, I've made enough mistakes to know exactly what I like. A2 flash hider. Not fancy, doesn't have to be. The A2 flash hider works really, really well, and it's a fantastic flash hider for basically general purpose use. Plus, there's a lot of really cool suppressors now that are just quick attached to this. And that's what I was going with this. I have a lot of rifles that have an A2 birdcage on theirs, so I was like, screw it, you know what? I want to be able to use a suppressor across multiple platforms, so I'm going to do that and just stick with the A2. Nothing wrong with there. Keep it simple, stupid. Next up, we have a Tacticon Battle Torch V3. This was a Poverty Pony build, so I wasn't going to stick a ton of money into buying like a Surefire or anything like that. The nice features with this is it did come with an end cap, so if I wanted to put an end cap on there, I could, but I like the pressure switch. You know, you got a quick, large one on top that, quick release on that, or you can just keep it on with a press of button right there. This is not a bad setup, honestly. I like it. I've used it for some low light shoots and stuff like that. Out to 150 yards, I was able to illuminate a target and hit it pretty easily. That was a 3/4 IPSC that had been shot to hell, so I wasn't too upset with this. Battery life on it was pretty nice too. Moving on down from there, BCM hand stop. Well, and they say it's a vertical grip or whatever. I consider it more of an enhanced hand stop. Quite frankly, it's just there to be able to get a nice tactical feel. No, it's there to prevent me from basically falling back on the rifle, and then it puts my thumb in the right position for a C-clamp here. Pressure pad, yeah, you could accidentally fire it. I'm not too worried about that, frankly. I usually throw my hand behind the pressure pad anyway, so that if I need to turn it on, I can roll forward, turn it on. If I want to turn it off, not a big deal. Very easy, very simple to use. There's a lot of people that tell you this needs to be flipped the other way. I don't really care. This one works for me, and with competitions and stuff like that, I've always rolled it like that. So yeah, whatever, shooter's choice. But yeah, BCM makes this furniture here. Actually, this is their Warfighter grip down here. I got big meaty hands, and their Warfighter grip just works really, really well for me. They also have that little space underneath for all your little tools and whatever, if you want to throw extra ammo in there. They usually batteries for me. That's why it goes in there, or 2 extra rounds. I don't know why, but it can.
That's when you know that you've messed your life up.
Let's talk about handguard. This handguard's from Midwest Industries. And the handguard here, this is their ultralight one. It is fantastic. It is one of my favorite handguards to use. It looks great. It has a ton of space in it, a lot of rail estate. Man, I love this. Just handguard feels right to me. Putting money into it where it counts really matters, and having a good handguard is really nice. The features on this handguard are fantastic, and overall, I really, really like it.
Hey guys, Future Rob Jones. Totally forgot to do this part, and as per tradition, I gotta come back and film another segment because, I can't ever stick on script and, be smart about things. But Big Dum Dums Me means just a little bit more information for you. As far as barrel and gas system length, that huge part of the gun, and I completely forgot about it. But yeah, the barrel, this is an Aero Precision barrel. It's just a government profile barrel. So if you don't know what government profile is, you've got basically heavy barrels, which are, big chunky boys. Like this one's a heavy barrel up there. But government profile barrel means this can be slimmed down. It's not quite pencil size, so not knocking off a ton of weight on it, but it's enough that I'm able to actually, use this as GPR with a fairly lightweight barrel that's very reliable. Moly chrome lined. For those who don't know what that means, basically a Moly chrome line barrel, a barrel that isn't shot out after 5,000 rounds. Is it going to be as hardy as, say, like this FN cold hammer forged Moly chrome line barrel? No. I consider this like a 2 MOA gun, maybe 1 MOA gun. That's pretty good. Sub MOA is the way to go. But again, given that this is just an Aero Precision barrel, I'm not certain as to where that's going to be. I don't need it to be exactly precise. I need it to be functional and hardy and work. So it's not a precision instrument. It is definitely, not a blunt instrument, but it'll do the job that it needs to do.
Felt good. Felt solid. 100 yards should be easy.
As far as gas system length goes, that's very important with the AR-15, right? Direct gas impingement, sorry if we're going to use proper terminology. But DGI guns, your gas length, that dwell time, essentially the amount of time that it takes for the gas to go back through and into the system itself, that matters, is going to determine how violent the action is here. And with mid-length, I think it's superior, especially on a longer barrel rifle, to use than, say, like a carbine length system. It's a little bit longer, so it gives a little bit more dwell time, creating less recoil, or at least less felt recoil. Versus, like, say, a rifle length gas system like what we have up here with this clone. I think mid-length is good for just about anything. It's going to keep the recoil very, very manageable and make it feel very, very good in the hands. There are builds that you can do a rifle length on a 16-inch barrel. It's kind of cool. It's nerdy, and I like it, and you can find information on those. But yeah, overall, mid-length gas system superior to carbine length. Carbine length is good if you're going to be using something where you don't have all that there, so SBR that shit. But if you're going to do a 16-inch barrel or 14.5 pin and welded, mid-length is the way to go.
Let's examine the upper and lower receivers. Now, I have gone back and forth with this in my mind. I actually think the quality of the upper receiver is far more important than the quality of the lower receiver. Lower receivers, even though that is the serialized part, seem to be a dime a dozen, and you can get a lot of really decent lower receivers for like $100. So lower receivers, to me, especially when you buy them stripped out, don't spend a ton of money unless you want extra features. Now, there are products like the Griffin Armament lowers, the ADM lowers, Arrow's Pro Series lowers that have some really cool accessories. I'm a little bit more ambi for, maybe left-handed shooters, or if you want those, cool boy switches, you could definitely get that. Those are going to be a little bit pricier. But to me, lower receiver is a lower receiver is a lower receiver. So yes, the lower receiver is the only thing original to this platform, this build here. but I think in a way that's kind of cool because I've taken pigs with this rifle, I've shot competitions with this rifle, and this lower receiver has never really let me down, so overall, I'll keep her. Upper receivers, I do think are important. You want a nice, tight upper receiver. By tight, I mean you can look at the space between the upper and lower receiver, and it should be flush, and you shouldn't have a lot of play. There's a little bit of play in this one, but there shouldn't be a lot of play overall. Obviously, rifles loosen up over time, but it should feel nice and tight. If you can see gapped out, space between the upper and lower receiver, that's not great. That means that they're not fitting appropriately, and you should probably look at correcting them. The upper receiver I have here is a BCM, Bravo Company Manufacturing. They're also local to me, so I really like their parts overall. Again, they just make a really nice upper receiver for not too many shekels. I'd also recommend the Midwest Industry ones. They're cool too. Maybe I'm just shilling for my local companies, but ask around, ask anyone. Midwest Industries, BCM, totally acceptable, especially when you're trying to do a poverty pony build. And up top for the optic, I've got a Vortex Strike Eagle 1-6. Yeah, Vortex is, again, a Wisconsin-based company, so I wanted to support them. I always like their stuff. And then I've got the Arrow to hold it on. The Arrow Ultralight here is fantastic. Honestly, you can't really argue with how lightweight it is and durable it is against a lot of the other products on the market. Just to wrap up the optic here, I've got a MK Machining throw lever. If you don't have a enhanced throw lever, a big throw lever on the LPVOs, you really need to get one. MK Machining did a great job with this. I put the ARD from them on here as well. Like I said, this is kind of GPR, so general purpose rifle, and I just wanted to be cool, tactical for a bit. So, yeah, the honeycomb design is interesting. Do I think it actually works? Hell if I know. Should I put just tape on it? Sure, save some money. But sometimes you gotta make the cool boy purchases to make the cool boy purchases. Back over here, standard GI buffer tube, didn't really do anything with that. And then I went with the Magpul stock. Magpul makes great stocks, great furniture. If you're not getting BCM furniture and stuff, get the Magpul stuff. That's just my recommendation. I love their QDs, and honestly, it works really, really well. Okay, let's get into the guts and components of this gun. Looking at the lower receiver, I've got a Magpul enhanced mag release. I just wanted something. GI is totally fine. If you want to save money, you can save money on that. I just wanted something a little bit bigger to get my hands on. I also got the, that is actually BCM on the bottom of that. That trigger guard, you can do whatever you want with. The GI one is totally fine. I just want a little bit more space, so I went with the BCM on there. Flipping over to the other side of the rifle, I've got the Radian bolt release, bolt catch. Something a little bit bigger. That is something that I found just is really helpful. I prefer to have that. If you're not going to have an ambi one, whatever. This works just totally fine. I like that.
Thank you.
And then I have a Magpul 45-degree safety. I just like that shortened throw on that. Just a little bit faster. I tend to be a little bit more guns up than the full 90. Again, you can stay GI with that stuff. The mil-spec stuff is totally fine, but these were just little creature comforts on the rifle itself that make it feel like it's a much more expensive rifle than it actually is. As far as the trigger goes, it's a Geisley. There's nothing, just get a Geisley. It's a single stage trigger. It works totally fine. Now, as to the components on the upper receiver, I have a Radiant charging handle. I love the Radiant charging handles. They work really, really well. They're nice and big, so you can really get your hands on that, even though you might have an LPVO sitting on that. It's not hard to hit it from either side. Now, as far as my bolt carrier group, that is entirely Midwest Industries. It's their enhanced bolt carrier group. I consider it just as good as the BCM ones, if not a little bit better. They have just a little extra cut on the, an extra little ring on the enhanced bolt carrier group that helps deal with gas. Is it worth it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is. I think it is personally, and it came in at around the same price, so I was, happy to just drive over there and pick it up from them. As far as coming to the front, all right, gas systems, Seekins, all right. Seekins does the best gas systems. in my opinion. I really like them. This has got a lot of different, I think I've got 36 different positions on this particular Seekins gas block. So I can adjust it the way I need to, and with the Magpul furniture on this, I can take this off and adjust it very quickly if need be, if I'm going to like put a suppressor and all that. That is one thing that I will say I wish I had done, is maybe I had gotten a different handguard to match up with the Seekins throw lever, because they actually have a selectable throw lever, which is really, really nice. So if maybe that's something I do in the future, but again, I'd have to walk away from this absolute Giga Chad, beautiful handguard from Midwest Industries. Now, back down to the buffer system. Geisley, again, it's the Geisley H1 with their coil spring. Guys, if you hate the dwing, 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 dwing of hearing that buffer spring going back and forth, which I cannot stand, do the Geisley triple braid. I went with the H1 as far as the weight on that buffer, just because I want it to be a very soft shooting gun, and it worked really, really well with the timing on all of this. And the other reason why I have that one in here is because I have another upper that is now a dedicated pig gun, shooting 7.62 by 39. And for that, yeah, to mitigate a little bit more of that recoil of that 30 cal round, that H1 plus that triple braid spring is the way to go. Yeah, overall, guys, I'm pretty happy with this build for a GPR. It suits my purposes. I think when you do the math on all the parts, all the components, you are talking about $1,500. Yeah, I could have just bought something like a Daniel Defense, or I'm getting close to Wilson Combat at that point in time, but I'm not going to have some of the features that I really wanted on there. So, frankly, buying a stock really nice rifle, fantastic. That's awesome. If you can afford to do it, do it. But this build is a build that's taken 5 years now to put together. And I'm excited to put it through its paces and see how well it runs under stress. So in the comments section below, please let me know what you guys think. Is this totally garbage? Is this a poverty pony? I should throw it in the lake or something like that, just not use it whatsoever. Should I be ashamed to be taking it out at a range day out of my bag? Should all the poors like me just, get good or get better jobs or save up a little bit more? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have a Frankenstein build yourself, let me know what you got in there. I'd like to see what you guys are rocking, what you think about these Frankenstein builds, and if you think they're acceptable for just general purpose rifles, or if people really should be putting their money towards maybe something that is out the gate factory. Me personally, I think this thing's fantastic for A, learning how to build an AR-15 and then maintain all of its components, but also B, just, having fun and customizing something for yourself, because there's no other rifle in the world like this. I mean, what's the old trope, right? This is my rifle, there are many like it, but this one is mine. Without me, this rifle is useless. Without the rifle, I am useless. That old thing. Well, in this case, this is purpose-built to me. So, yeah, I kind of like it, and I'm going to keep rolling with it and enjoy it. So, hopefully you guys got something out of this. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Okay, I got 4 swingers at 100 and 3 swingers at 150. I'm just going to try and tickle each and every one of them. Let's see here if we can do this. Up to 150. There we go. Wow, I threw that one. That's all she wrote. Alright, well,
That was fun wasting ammo.